you know it's what I always wanted. Could never have too many things. Well, you quit kicking me under the table. I'm trying, will somebody make us shut up about it? Can we settle down, please?
Shalom, this is your Ark. Yah is magnified, coming back with another informative video. This video is titled, Stop Arguing. So with that being said, let's get to it. But before I move any further, I'd like to state for the record, I'm not a lawyer, I do not practice law, and I do not pretend to. All my videos are for informational and educational purposes only. They're all facts and all truth. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay, so now I titled this video Stop Arguing because a lot of guys, watch my videos and they see it's when I say the straw man, they believe that I'm saying go in there and argue that you're not that name. No, that's far from the truth, guys. What I'm saying is this: never go to court and argue. There's no reason to argue. Why? Because if you're arguing, then you're giving something validity. Okay? You're giving it validity, okay? Plain and simple, simple and plain. If there's no argument, then there's no recourse to a court. If there's no recourse to a court, then there's no way you can be arrested. And not only arrested, there's no way there can be a charge or a crime or anything else against you. That's why the scriptures tell us to agree with thine adversary quickly. Keyword, quickly, okay? If you agree with your adversaries quickly, then that means they no longer have a recourse to a court of law, meaning they can't turn you over to the bailiff, meaning they can't turn you over to the judge who will turn you over to the bailiff who will put you in jail. Okay? So now, when you guys go to court, never argue. It's no arguing, well, that's not my name, I'm not the straw man. Nah, it's none of that. It's none of that. It's no arguments, guys. It's nothing to argue. Why? Because you and your adversary now in agreement with one another. And if you are in agreement with one another, then there's nothing to argue about. There's nothing to even talk about. They no longer have a recourse to a court of law. Okay? But that's why they have attorneys there, because attorneys like to do what? They like to argue. Why? To give validity to something that do not exist. Such as the debt. The child support debt does not exist. That's what they do. They will basically have the mom come down there and sign a contract with them. And when the mom sign a contract with them, they'll get your information, pull your information up on the computer, however they get it, and then they'll find your address, summons you to appear to court. You come to court, next thing you know, or before you even go to court, sometimes they have you come to their child support office. You go to the child support office, and they want to negotiate with you then. If you say, "No, I'm not doing that, I don't want to negotiate," they say, "Okay, let's go to the judge." So they schedule your court date. Sometimes they just take you right downstairs to the judge. So you go down to, or the acting judge, the magistrate, the actor. So you go down there and speak with the actor. And next thing you know, the actor is threatening you, to either take a paternity test or this how much you're going to be paying. You see? Why? Because they trying to get you the contract. And once they get you the contract, most of the time they claim you already contract with them through the birth certificate. You see? So, but for those who haven't signed the birth certificate, they want you to contract through the acknowledgement of paternity. So now, once they get you to contract with them through that way, next thing you know, you not knowing any better, you sign the documents. Now you're stuck for 18, 19, 21 years of your life, or however old the child is, and then they add back paying all that other nonsense to keep you a slave forever. You see? All by the contract. And that's how they do it. But not only that, though. I tell guys, everything in America runs on a continuous series of contracts. Everything. Not one thing, everything. Why? Because in America, law is contracts and contracts is law. They're one and the same. Okay? So you have Article 1 of the United States Constitution blatantly says that a state cannot come between man's obligation to contract. Okay? So now, if the state cannot come between man's obligation and contract, if a contract got you into child support, then a contract can get you out of child support. Plain and simple, simple and plain. You know, it gets no simpler than that. But basically what they want us to do when we get into these courts, they want us to argue a debt that do not exist. And once you start to argue back and forth with them, then you just gave that debt that do not exist validity. Plain and simple, simple and plain. It's just like that movie, The Matrix, when the little boy was sitting on the floor bending the spoon with his mind, and Neo was looking at the little boy saying, "Wow, how did you do that?" Then the little boy said, "We must remember, there is no spoon."
Do not try and bend the spoon. That's impossible. Instead, only try to realize the truth.
What truth?
There is no spoon.
There is no spoon?
Then you'll see that it is not the spoon that bends, it is only yourself.
The Oracle will see you now.
Spoon. The same thing they doing in courts. There is no debt, but they want you to believe there's debt, you know, and once you believe there's debt, you start to argue about a debt, giving it validity when it never existed from the beginning. You see? That's the trickery. That's what they're doing. Using contracts. Okay? So once you know that, everything in America runs on a continuous series of contracts, and only for you to be an obligor, then you must also give up your right to be a man or a woman. You see? So you gave your birthright up from being a man to being an obligor, or from being a woman to being an obligor. And that's how they trap us. You see? Same thing with becoming a taxpayer. You gave up your birthright from being a man to now being a taxpayer. You see? Or a United States citizen. You see? So that's how they getting us. The contracts is what's getting us, man. From the beginning to the end. So again, this is more remedy and more truth to you guys. The best way to get out of a contract is to usher in a new one. I cannot express that enough, guys. You know? So now, with that being said, you guys get to studying. If you all need my help, hit me up in my email at y'allismagnified@gmail.com. Make that donation, we get the ball rolling. If not, go back and watch my videos, study, you know, put your mind to it and see what's really going on, guys. You know, because like I said, man, everything works on a continuous series of contracts. I cannot express that enough. Okay? And also, child support is a state issue. Okay? Yes, it has federal guidelines, but it's a state issue. And don't forget that, guys. Child support is a state issue. They take you into state courts. It's ran by your local state. Okay? So with that being said, guys, y'all be blessed. Like and subscribe. Shalom.